Let's go to Mike Gallagher. We're going to go to clip number 3 here. He's on with Fox and Friends. There's Katie McFarland and Christine Fair on with him as well. Let's start with a quick little clip here.
Let's look at the inevitable, the 800-pound gorilla in the room. How about let's scrutinize young Middle Eastern men?
We've got to start
Let's stop this. What happens on El Al Airlines, the airline run and operated by the State of Israel, if a Palestinian tries to board that flight? You think he goes through an extra degree of security? Let's do that with Muslims. Let's do that with anybody named Abdul or Mohammed or Ahmed. Let's take them and put them in a room and make sure they don't have explosives sewn into their underwear.
Okay, you're going to take 1 billion Muslims and put them in a room. Look, this isn't, El Al is a small airline serving a small country with a specific, what they consider to be an enemy there, right? You're talking about all Muslims in the world. And you're talking about American Airlines, all airlines doing this. I mean, on practical grounds alone, you're crazy. That's, I mean, then you're gonna grind things to a halt. Do you know how much more people you need to stop every Muslim in every airport? Okay, let alone that it appears that you have you don't hesitate one iota in saying, oh, let's discriminate against people. Who cares? Oh, so there's, you know, a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand of bad guys in that religion? Okay, as long as none of us are in that religion, yeah, let's discriminate. If it was the same for Christianity or for Jews, they would never, ever tolerate it. That would, if he had said, okay, imagine, you know, is there a case of Jewish terrorism? Of course, right? Before the State of Israel, Irgun, et cetera, they were terrorist groups. They bombed hotels, et cetera, okay? I'm not judging it, whatever, right? But it's just the fact of what it was. If at the time they came out, well, at the time it might have been acceptable, and the right-wingers probably did say it. But imagine if that was today, and they're like, well, there's some Jewish terrorists. And by the way, are there still some? Yeah, about the one that killed the Israeli prime minister. That was a couple of decades ago, but not a couple, but a little while ago. But anyway, imagine if they said, oh, that's it. Put aside all the Jews. Let's take them in a room. Let's search them. Let's mark them. Let's make sure that the Jews don't do this anymore. You think that would fly? That probably wouldn't fly, right? But they're Muslims. If you didn't understand it, they're going to continue to make it a little bit more clear for you. Clip number 4.
So in profiling everyone, you run the risk of actually having a system that's unmanageable.
I tell you,
I'm not opposed to profiling, but the empirical demands are really more difficult than I think you appreciate.
Good point, but KT, there's only one group that's really declared war in America, and it's radical Islam.
And that's the problem.
They're not the crazy Catholic Aurelians.
From the very beginning of this administration, with announcing they're going to close Gitmo and release the prisoners, to trying the September 11th suicide bomber mastermind in civilian courts in New York, to now, where they read this guy his Miranda rights, and they're going to put him in the court. They're treating this like a law enforcement
I've got
a war.
I've got an idea. How about let's profile the guy whose father already notified the authorities that my son is a radical terrorist? Hey, Christine, why don't we start with profiling him and telling him you might not be allowed to get on an airplane? Are you kidding me?
But Mike, what you're saying is to any Muslim. Do you think we should profile any Muslim?
No one's disagreeing with that.
Yes, I think we ought to. I think we ought to do what El Al Airlines does. Ask anybody who knows El Al what they do with Palestinians who attempt to board El Al. We should take anybody who's a known Muslim and put them in a separate line. Call it a VIP line.
That is so preposterous.
No, it's not.
One-third of the world's population is Muslim.
A VIP line, Christine. Don't worry.
If you're going to treat every single Muslim in this way, it's simply untenable. It's unpractical. It's fear-mongering.
Who are you afraid of offending?
I have no problems offending anyone.
You know, when the clips go, I try to take notes on all the things that they've said wrong, right? I ran out of time on that one. Okay, who are you afraid of offending? Al-Qaeda? No, you just said all known Muslims. All known Muslims. What does that mean? Who's unknown Muslim? Okay, all Muslims. You want to put them in a special line, in a special category. I remember the Germans had VIP lines for Jews, and that didn't work out well, right? And, oh, how could you say that? That's not fair. Oh, you can say any damn thing you like about Muslims, but okay, you put them in a different category, et cetera, et cetera. And then you compare all of them to Al-Qaeda, all of them. And he says, oh, you don't want to profile this guy from Nigeria. No, I do want to profile him. His dad came in and said, I think he's a radical. You see, that gives you a reason to put him on a watch list, as opposed to your dumb idea of, no, let's put 1 billion people on the watch list. Well, then the watch list is useless, you moron. And that Katie McFarland lady came in and said, oh, you see that? Obama came in and wanted to release all the prisoners. He never said that. It's not even vague. In fact, the problem is he wants to keep a lot of them in indefinite detention without ever even trying them. It's the exact opposite problem, right? And you know who released prisoners? George W. Bush. The guys in Yemen that were released from Guantanamo that are part of plotting against the United States, released by George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. She didn't tell you that, right? And then she said, oh, and they're treating this like a law enforcement matter. What does trying Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in New York have anything to do with this guy? Did he think, oh, well, if they're going to just try me in New York, well, then great, I'm in. He was willing to blow off his genitals. He doesn't care about whether you try him in New York or otherwise. He's willing to kill himself. They're so dumb. And then Kilmeade. Christine Fair is the only person from Georgetown University that made a good point there. She said it's not practical, right? And Kilmeade comes in and is like, oh, okay, good point. But, come on. Radical Islam's the only people who declared war against us. First of all, what the hell is radical Islam? I don't know what that is. I know what fundamentalism is. I know that some fundamentalists are violent. I don't like fundamentalism overall, whether it's Christianity, Islam, whatever. But I know not all fundamentalist Christians are violent, and I know not all fundamentalist Muslims are violent. But put that aside. Okay, you're against all fundamentalist Muslims. How do you know who they are? I mean, if you give me a list of, here are the people who have declared war against us, and they are violent. I'm in, put them on the watch list. I don't want them blowing up planes. I don't want them blowing up the plane I'm on, okay? But we don't know who it is. So then you say, radical Islam declared war against us. So let's just go after all known Muslims. They're not done yet. Clip number 5.
There's a middle ground here. You don't have to do this to everybody who's a Muslim, but you do have to do some profiling. Napolitano's point is there are too many on this list. We can't figure it out. Put them on a separate list.
That's why we have computers. We're not just going to go through a...
You can do a Google search on this guy in 30 seconds.
No, but that's my point. It's like they're fighting against a straw man that doesn't exist. They pretend that liberals, right, don't want to profile anyone. No, the question is, what do you mean by profiling? If you mean profiling people who are on the list for a reason, their dad turned them in, they were in Yemen getting training from a guy we know is Al-Qaeda, et cetera, et cetera. Of course you should do that profiling. That's what the watch list is all about, to find out who are the people against us. But they never make that distinction. If you notice, what they say is we should do some sort of profiling, and then Gallagher takes it and says, well, that means we should profile all Muslims. Okay? I don't know what McFarland means by a middle ground. If she means the middle ground is let's have a terror watch list, everyone agrees. If she means let's have a terror watch list and put all the Muslims or most of the Muslims on it, well, that makes no sense. Then your watch list is useless. But these people don't care about solving the problem. And they don't even care about terrorism. They care about finding an enemy and saying, that's it. Islam is our enemy. Muslims are our enemy. Everybody gets scared, and everybody attack the enemy, because that's what right-wingers do. And, of course, as usual, it's counterproductive, and it's hurting all of us.